At the moment, I have been honored by the Poetry Foundation of being called the Young People's Poet Laureate of the United States. This makes me happy. I'm not young, but I have worked with young people for my whole adult life, and I've tried to encourage their own poetry, their own confidence with writing, their own sense of how much poetry they carry in every day of their lives, that they think in poems, that details and observations are poems. And the job of a poet is to pay better attention and to connect some of the things you experience. So that's been my life's work, working with kids and writing books. And so I'm very honored to be at the Miami Book Fair. And I've been with kids the last 2 days here, middle school age, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. Very beautiful kids in Miami. Such great spirits. They were quite generous. They weren't shy about speaking out, sharing their poems, writing. It was a beautiful time. And then for the rest of my time here, I'll be with adults. So kind of two sides of life with poetry. But one thing I love about poetry is that it's really for all of us. I think it helps us live our lives. Even if you only read a few poems now and then, you'll have a better time, I think. The poems will help you slow down, help you appreciate how such tiny things could be very important things. And so one of my most recent books is about a young girl in Palestine, where half of my heritage comes from. My father was a Palestinian refugee, and he came to the United States in the early 1950s. And the girl who inspired the book, The Tiny Journalist, which is from Boa Editions, is a young girl. She's only 13 now, right now. But when she started becoming an activist and describing herself as the youngest journalist in the world, she was 6 and 7 years old. This is very inspiring to me. She lives in the West Bank in a small village near the village where my grandmother went when she lost her home in Jerusalem in 1948. So my own family lives very close to where Jana Jihad Ayad's family lives. And many of the experiences that she has documented are similar to the exact experiences my own family went through, my father went through, and so many countless Palestinians have gone through for the past 71 years. It is not a new story, but it continues to be a very difficult story for so many people. So when I heard about this little girl who was really stepping out, I did something that I didn't want to do, which wasn't very hard really for a person living in the United States. I joined Facebook so I could follow her. But because I'm a writer and a little bit, I like to be quiet and I don't like too many messages coming at me all the time, I was nervous about joining social media. But I now follow Jana on Facebook and Instagram, and don't use it too often, but I always check out what she's posting. So I was writing poems over a period of time relating to her advocacy and the issues which Palestinians face living in occupied West Bank of Palestine. Now, this is a topic constantly in the American news, but it is often not presented in a way that gives the whole picture of what is going on there. Only last week, we learned that the current American government was agreeing that the illegitimate settlements in the West Bank made by Israeli Zionist people, Jewish people who should be our brothers and sisters, not any kind of enemy, that they would now be declared legal, not illegitimate anymore. And this is really shocking to Palestinian people, but I think probably they expected it. After all these years of not getting very much good news, they're used to bad news. So this book, The Tiny Journalist, is for Jana Jihad Ayad, and she is from the Tamimi family. Many people have heard of Ahed Tamimi, who was jailed at the age of 16. She turned 17 in prison for slapping a soldier, an Israeli soldier who had come into her family home, and they had shot her cousin in the head, and so she was quite distraught, and she slapped the soldier, and for that she went to jail. Many Palestinians are jailed without due cause and without any kind of equal representation of rights all the time. It happens all the time. But Ahed Tamimi became a household word internationally because, for one thing, she was so young. She was also outspoken. It's a very outspoken family. And she's also very beautiful. She's a very beautiful young woman. And some people even said ridiculous things like, she's just doing this because she knows she'll get a lot of attention. No Palestinian wants this kind of attention. So Jana is a documentarian. And this poem is called Jana. At 7, making videos. At 10, raising the truth flag. At 11, raising it higher. Traveling to South Africa. Keffiyeh nodded on shoulders. Interviews in airports. Please, could you tell us? You know, gazing into a camera can be a bridge, so you stare without blinking. People drift to the sides of the film, don't want to be noticed, put on the spot. You know the spot is the only thing that matters. What else? Long days, tired trousers pinned on roof lines, nothing good expected. It's right in front of me. I didn't go looking for it. We're living in the middle of trouble. No reason not to say it straight. They do not consider us equal. They blame us for everything, forgetting what they took, how they took it. We are made of bone and flesh and story, but they poke their big guns into our faces and our front doors and our living rooms as if we are vapor. Why can't they see how beautiful we are? The saddest part, we all could have had twice as many friends.